Okay. So we're in. Yeah, that's not working. Okay, so we're in the comments. Okay. I'm seeing comments. So it says, so what I've got 2 on YouTube there. And I'm assuming when Facebook pops up, it should pop up as a Facebook comment. On Facebook? Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, I can see that. So, we'll just wait for a few people to come in. You guys still hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yep. I can hear you.
I'm going to go to my Facebook page and see if there's...
I see it on your Facebook page. Or, I mean, on your YouTube. I'm sorry.
There's Joe Parabellum. Yeah, how you doing? Okay, so some people are rolling in. I'm hearing audio good. Joe Najer, thanks for making it. Okay, we got 11. Let a few more people roll in if we get more than 11. 12. Julie. Okay,
You see that our months are live, guys. Just, you know.
Canadian fishing musician made it. Thank you. Hope all's well, Rich. This is our first multi-stream. I'm going to introduce my guests here very shortly once we get a few other people going. We got 14. Derek Osmos. Welcome, Derek. Appreciate you stopping in. Got one like on. Oh, we got one like. I don't know if that's Facebook or where. But... Okay, so yeah, we're live on Facebook as well. It's going. All right, you guys ready?
Let's roll.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear any music at all?
I can hear it.
Oh, shut it off.
Yeah, now it's off.
See, I couldn't hear it.
Thanks for sticking with us, everyone. This is a test run here.
Boom. Boom.
All right.
What's up, guys? So if you're in the chat, say hello so we know who's here. There's Jared, Real Feel Fishing. He made it. Thanks, Jared. I'm trying to sort these comments out to see if they're coming in from YouTube or Facebook. It doesn't look like I have any on Facebook. I got it playing on the laptop. Ron Whitney, hi, everyone. There's Polly Buck. Everybody hit the like on your way in. Oh, Brandon's watching on Facebook. So yeah, the comments are pulling in. So on the right, it splits them up, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. So that's good to know. Okay, so today we got our first multi-stream, my first multi-stream. Have you guys ever did one of these?
Never.
Never live. I've talked to on Shane Flynn Outdoors, but I've never done it live. This is my first live stream.
Okay. So I've been messing with the lives a little bit, but kind of by myself. And I know the three of us have been trying to work this out now for the past week, trying to work the kinks out and all that stuff. So
Yep.
I think we got it pretty well dialed. We got 19 people. You guys make sure you hit the like on the way in. Appreciate it. Darius made it. What's up, Darius? So if you guys aren't familiar, the guy in the top right corner, that's Brian, the Michigan Fisherman. And the gentleman below is Jay, Bearded Dad Fishing. I actually got a couple of Jay stickers here.
Oh, there we go.
Pretty cool.
What's up, guys?
So Jay, why don't you take a second and tell us about yourself quick. You got a YouTube channel, all that stuff. You got a Facebook page. And
Yes,
what's the channel all about?
Yeah, sure. So it's Bearded Dad Fishing. Started the channel because I was a little bit frustrated when I got into kayak fishing and had just the frustration of not knowing so much and having to learn it in a short amount of time. So I figured I'll make some of these videos and do the videos I wish I had when I was new. So I started making some videos, started the channel, and just kind of took off from there a little bit. But the thing I really started enjoying about it was the community aspect. I mean, I met you two guys because of it. We started the Kayak Fishing Dads group on Facebook, which now has over 400 members, which is really cool. Kind of started it on a buddy's suggestion, not really thinking much of it. And I mean, you kind of see it just take off on its own. People start posting advice, posting questions. So that community aspect's really motivated me to kind of keep going. But so the channel is really just all about kayak fishing, mods, gear review, kayak reviews, things like that. So a little bit of fishing mixed in there too, obviously. But yeah, I keep it simple. I post a couple times a month usually, and I meet some cool people. So that's my favorite part for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I've been a part of that page for a while now, and it's growing super fast, man. For a social media page, it's pretty impressive how quick it's growing.
Yeah, I was surprised, but I'm telling you, I think it's just that community aspect of it where people like want that. So I ended up finding more friends now that I started kayak fishing that want other dudes that kayak fish. So like one of my best buds I met through my YouTube channel. He commented, he's like, "Yo, I'm from Eastern PA too. Let's link up sometime." We went fishing, and now we've been fishing probably like a dozen times. I go over his house, we hang out. So it's just kind of the way it just went. So that's what I like about it for sure.
Right on. Yeah, the community. I actually met this one dude took me steelhead fishing. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch that video. I posted Saturday. He took me up north steelhead fishing. So he's like that's his thing, right? Steelhead fishing in the river. And I had never been, but actually met him. He commented on one of my videos, one of my walleye fishing videos, and then exchanged emails and then exchanged phone numbers and actually took him out on the boat walleye fishing. And then we've been out a few times since, and he took me up north steelhead, and so it's pretty cool. Some of the people you can meet just out of nowhere, not even other creators. He doesn't even post videos or does social media. He just was really interested in my channel, and we hooked up and actually become pretty good friends. I text him on a daily basis, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I can second that too, as far as meeting other people in the community, not just the YouTube community, but a lot of YouTubers are the main people I've been hooking up with. Like Lucas, obviously, I've been hanging out with you, doing some kayak fishing. Joe from Live to Fish, Albanian Fishing Guy, Darius, Beard Zero Fishing, just so many, different people that I would have never met if I didn't start YouTube. And that's one aspect of YouTube that I never thought. I mean, I know I might get to know some people chat, but actually meeting up with people, becoming friends with people that I chat with on a daily basis or text, not really call, but at least text on a daily basis. Just something I didn't think I was getting into when I started this.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So what's up, Jay? You ain't wearing the Philadelphia Eagles hat today.
I'm not,
big
man.
win, yeah.
No, I'm happy though.
Yeah.
That game last night was crazy, dude.
It was. We were up watching it for a while, and I'm like, dude, this is a knockdown drag out. Like it's making it look easy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'd be better if the Bills were winning, but Bills got knocked down, man. Bengals are coming hard. So
Bengals are a tough team, man. All around, they're phenomenal football team.
Yeah,
I'm hoping we'll get our shot next year.
You guys are close. There's no
we're close.
Lions.
We just got to keep everybody together, and then we're close. I'm a fair weather Detroit Lions fan. Lucas gives me enough garbage about that, but so if I'm psyched about them next year, that's how you know they're the real deal. Because normally I don't want to waste my time if they're not if they're just breaking my heart every week. So they're close.
I'm used to it, man. I'm so used to it, but it's gonna be nice when we finally get there. I'm hoping home playoff game next year, dude. That city is gonna be. It's going to be out of control if Detroit ever gets a home playoff game.
Right on.
When's the last time they were in the playoffs?
They were in 2016 was the last time they were in the playoffs.
Okay.
Last time they won a playoff game was back in the 90s.
Like 92 or something like that.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders era. Yeah. Been a bit.
Oh, we got a Cowboys fan in here, man.
All right. Hey, man, that's going to be a good game tonight.
Yeah, I got the Niners on that one, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, home field advantage. I think it's a 4-point spread, but man, the Cowboys are looking good. I always make fun of the Cowboys, but man, they're actually looking legit this year.
Yeah, they're a hot team, man. The only reason I want the Niners to win is because I think the Eagles could take on the Niners easier than the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, when they're on, they're on.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a good defense too.
Yeah.
Parabellum. I don't watch a lot of baseball. Yeah. Well, see, that ruins a lot of my Sunday fishing too. On the weekends, I don't fish much on the weekends, so when I do have opportunities, me and my wife are big into football, so we fantasy football it up, and we usually got red zone going on one TV. I got the Lions game going on the other. So
well, there was that one time, wasn't there that one time you were doing a tournament, a kayak fishing tournament, listening to the Lions game?
Yes, I was. We know how that all turned out.
And we all know how that one ended.
Yeah.
You got the Lions curse there, and
I got cursed.
Even on a boat, you shouldn't be in the water, and listen to the Lions somehow put you in the water.
Somehow ended up in the water.
Right.
Man, I tell you what, Jay, you've done a couple kayak tournaments?
Yeah, I did 3 of them this past year.
So I tell you what, it's a whole different mindset than just going out and actually fishing and just going out and hanging out and casting. You know, it's just you gotta what was it, 4 hours, I think the afternoon tournament in the fall was, and dude, it's you forget everything you know, and then it's just, for me, I mean, I'm super competitive, but it was a whole different experience. Like, I ended up catching some fish, but then, you know, the rules as far as taking the picture and your measurement, I screwed up on those, so it was definitely a learning curve. But I would like to do more of them this fall and even the summer. It's just my work schedule. I work the afternoon shift, and a lot of them are afternoon tournaments, you know, after work or whatever. And for me, it just wouldn't work out. So that's why I got in some weekend ones in the fall. And I want to do some more of that.
Yeah, I did. So this year was my first time tournament fishing, and same thing, dude. You go in with somewhat of a game plan, and at least for me, within the first hour, I felt like it just came crumbling down, and you just have a pressure on yourself that you don't have when you're just out there fishing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then you're worried about taking the picture right, your hand placement right, making sure the mouth is closed on the bass.
Yeah.
And that's once you land it. I mean, you got to land them fish first. So, you know, and then I find myself scrolling the scoreboard being like, oh, crap, what am I doing wrong? Why this guy got 3 of them already? And
yeah, see, and I never did that. And actually, I wish I would have, or actually opened my phone, because the one guy had messaged me on Facebook. He was watching the live standings, and he's like, hey, man, your pictures aren't good enough. They're getting declined. And so what it is that, like, you can write the number, the 4-digit number on your palm, and then put your hand on the fish and take the picture. But what I was doing is I put my card on the fish and then took the picture, and that wasn't good enough. But you can have your hand on there just right with the numbers, but putting your card on it wasn't acceptable. And I know they make them card holders for the catch boards and all that. I didn't have one. But like I said, lesson learned. But it was definitely a good time.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, man. My hardest one I fished in the beginning of October on Lake Nakamixon, which is in Eastern PA, and Mike Iaconelli was hosting it because it was for his foundation, so it was a fundraiser. And it's the biggest one I've done. I think there was 110 anglers or something like that. And like it was cold, it was windy, and it was raining. So like the whole day I was freezing. I didn't have the right pants on. I had sweatpants on, man. Like, so I was soaked to the core. You know, and then the rain jacket I had on, I washed a bunch of times, so it didn't repel anything. So, I mean, overall, like, I remember finishing the tournament, and I was like, man, I'm good if I don't fish the rest of the season. And, of course, the next day, I'm like, man, I want to go fishing.
Right,
so,
exactly.
It never lasted long.
No, a dude I was muskie fishing. This was like 3 or 4 days ago, and there was a guy. he's on Instagram, Eastside Angler, and he was saying he's going to start hosting a Thursday afternoon, evening, every Thursday, I think it was, this summer on Lake St. Clair for the KBF or whatever, or the Michigan Kayak. One of those, it's all going to be on the, I forget which app, but he's setting it up right now. And he was going to try to get me into some of them. I'm like, dude, man, if it's a weekday afternoon, I just can't do it right now anyways, which sucks, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah, well, KBF has those monthly challenges where you can just, I think it's your top 10 fish of the month or whatever. And so you have from the first to the last day of the month to fish. So, and you just fit that in your schedule whenever you want.
Right. Yeah, and that's just a straight online gig.
Yeah.
And something about tournament setting, I just like the competitiveness, you know. So back in the day, I used to, my brother and I actually used to do a lot of salmon fishing. We had a boat set up for trolling and stuff. A lot of stuff people don't know about me, I guess. But before I started this channel, I used to do a lot of trolling for salmon in the big water, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron. And we had a 22-foot boat, fiberglass, you know, all decked out for trolling. And we used to get into those tournaments, man. We'd run 6, 8 a year. And the competitiveness, you know, just when those were half-day tournaments, you know, and you're just out there just grind. It didn't matter what the weather was. You're just trying to put fish in the boat, you know, and it can be tough when the fish ain't cooperating.
Yeah.
That's been my issue lately. I've been out muskie fishing 8 times in the past 3 weeks now, and I ain't caught one. And I've seen one caught in those 8 trips I've made. And it was Friday. Friday I went out and dude, I was just for 5-6 hours casting, you know, and just starting to really question my sanity at one point. You know what I mean? I'm like, what am I doing? But
well,
dude,
that's why I figured I'd come out and join you that one time, you know, just give you a little bit of company.
Yeah.
Because I know you hadn't caught one in a while, and figured at least you could have somebody to talk to while you're out there and BS with a little bit.
No,
because
that was nice.
It's rough out there, you know.
It is, and it just beats you up, man. And I'm gonna keep fishing them though. Tomorrow I'm going somewhere different. I'm actually gonna go walleye fishing tomorrow. I'm gonna go hit a river up before work, and then I've got a plan for the muskie this week though. I got something that they ain't seen yet this year. I don't know if anybody's ever fished like it before, but I got a little plan for them, and hopefully can hook one. So we'll see how that goes. Because we're running out of time. Open water season is about over for us.
Yeah, but you said there's not that much ice out there right now.
No.
Almost none. There's a few patches where, I'd say on Martin Luther King Day, people were getting out, but a day or two later, it was almost completely gone. You have to find a really isolated channel, or not channel, but a canal in the back, you know, that's isolated from currents and isolated from the wind. And there's some guys that are, you know, spudding through the ice there and fishing from the docks right now, and they're doing pretty well, you know, catching panfish, bluegill, perch, things like that. But we're kind of in between seasons right now, so
yeah,
a little bit miserable here in Michigan if you're a fisherman.
So low PCJ has a question. Where do I find a KBF group? So KBF is kayak bass fishing, but if you're interested in kayak fishing in general, check out Jay's Facebook group.
Kayak Fishing Dads.
Yeah, Kayak Fishing Dads on Facebook. If you search that, it'll pop right up, and there's a lot of information on there for all things kayak fishing. What is that? Oh, Polly Buck's got right there. Got Jay's channel posted on the link. Yeah, be sure to check out Jay's channel. Subscribe to his channel for sure. He's always putting up cool videos too. Like one of my favorite videos of yours recently is the kayaks for big dudes. Like I was like, dude, this is super useful information and affordable kayaks at that. You know what I mean? Because when you get into fishing kayaks, man, you get into some of these, you're talking Hobies and stuff. You're talking $4 or $5 grand. You know, and that's not even rigging it out.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, I'm sure you guys are the same. When I was looking up my kayak initially, I did a ton of YouTube research on my first fishing kayak. And I think my two choices were between like a Hobie and a Pelican. I didn't know the difference between a Hobie and a Pelican. Now, obviously, you're talking about two different leagues, miles apart.
Right.
But yeah, like and being a big dude, 250 pounds, like I was always looking at the weight capacities. So I figured it might be a helpful video, and sure enough, it's been taking off pretty good.
Dude, that was extremely helpful. I mean, I just like knowing things like that, even though cause when I bought mine, I bought it based off the fact that I had been on one. I was on the 103, and my buddy there, Mike, had told me, he said, "Hey man, the 108 is the 103, but it's Big Brother." So I'm like, well, that's what I'm gonna go with, right? And then I got it, and I'm like, dude, this thing is Brian's seen it. He's been on it. He's like, this thing's like a floating bathtub, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge, but so there's pros and cons to that. It's super slow. But man, I got my feet hanging off the side, out fishing, drop shotting for smallies and stuff, and I'm just hanging out, doing my thing. I could stand up, but the thing of it is, even though they're super stable, I found out, and I've said this multiple times, I'll fall out of it before I flip it, and that's exactly what happened. I fell right out of it. But
and that's the one thing, as far as your kayak being big, one thing I love about kayak fishing is there are kayaks for any type of person and for any type of kayaking you want to do. Like me personally, although I liked your kayak and it was really nice, it's not the kayak for me though. I like smaller kayaks. I like the speed. I like to be able to go on really small canals, really small channels. That's just me. I mean, I know I have more of a risk of falling off. I know I have to be extra careful. I know people can't see me as well, but I really love the aspect where I can move in and out quick. I can get that thing on my car quick. There's been times I went to a spot, it was terrible. I could quickly and easily get that thing back on my car, go try out another spot and get back in the water. Whereas if you do have a larger one, yeah, you got a lot of pros to that, but do you really want to go put your kayak back onto the car, try another spot? I wouldn't want to do it if I had a really big kayak.
No, exactly. And anytime I see someone doing that where they're just manhandling the kayak over their shoulder, I get jealous because I mean, my kayak's 100 pounds. You can't do that, man. But that's the thing. There's trade-offs with all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Jared's got a question. I'll let you guys both, if you have an answer, do you guys have any special videos you want to make this year, or specific videos?
Anything specific?
Anything specific or special you got planned for this year coming up?
As far as the kayak, this year, well, it's too late to do it this year. I really wanted to try perch fishing off the kayak. In fact, I might have, if it doesn't freeze over enough, I might have one last opportunity for that. I really want to try perch fishing at Anchor Bay. But sometime later in the year, I would like to try, I don't know if I could, the problem is I don't know if I could do it safely. I would like to try walleye fishing from the kayak.
I did that
means
one.
Yeah, but if that means the Detroit River, can I take,
No, Saginaw River. Saginaw River, yeah, that's where I did mine, and the current isn't as fast as Detroit or St. Clair.
Right.
And the issue with your kayak that you're going to run into is that you don't have the pedal drive, because that's what allowed me to stay vertical while jigging. Now, you could cast for them, you know what I mean? But when I was vertical jigging, I was able to back pedal. I was able to maintain a vertical line while I'm jigging. I was able to pedal back, pedal forward. I'm not saying you couldn't do it. It'd just be a little more difficult.
Right. And that's why I'm kind of thinking I might want to upgrade sometime soon to something like Joe Nager has two kayaks, one for himself, one for his wife. I don't know if Joe's still in the chat, but I believe the one he got for his wife was a native Propel 100 or something like that. It's a very small kayak. It's light, yet it's got a pedal drive. You could stand on it. I could still car top it. So that's a kayak I'm really interested in. But then again, that now you're spending, $2,800 for a kayak, whereas the one I have cost me, I think, about $500. So it's a big upgrade. It's a big commitment,
Yeah, Native's good though. Native's a good brand. I mean, they got some really cool features on their pedal drives.
I think they're made in America as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as fishing videos, I'm trying to do this year. So I actually, you mentioned, Luke, that the kayaks for big dudes. So I've been catching a lot of heat in my comments because I missed a kayak that a lot of big dudes like, which is the New Canoe Unlimited.
Okay.
I didn't even know about this kayak, but now I have like 100 comments saying you forgot this one, you forgot this one. So,
Right.
so I'm gonna do a re-up to that video and include some of the ones that people have been mentioning that I didn't include.
Yep.
And you said, Brian, you want to do walleye fishing. I want to do lake trout fishing. So I want to go jigging for lake trout up in the Finger Lakes in Cayuga. They have them, and they're like you're jigging for them at like 190 feet. So that's something I got on my books.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, man.
That would be fun, man. And going back to your video there, the comments like that, that's why I encourage people to comment on my videos, because that's just positive feedback. Sometimes it's negative, but either way, it's whether it's constructive criticism or whatever, man. Like, I just appreciate the comments, and comments like that gave you another idea for a follow-up video, and double down on it, which is a badass idea.
Yeah, for sure.
And me, as far as any special videos, I mean, not anything particular. If we get ice, I'm going to do some spearing. So that's one thing I haven't done a lot of. I got everything to do it. I actually cut a spearing hole already earlier this winter when we had ice, but I'm going to do some pike spearing. I'm going to try to save some chatterbaits for the bass fishermen. You know, got all these pike in the lake and stuff, and I actually like eating pike, so do a little selective harvesting as far as that goes, spear some pike, and I've got a few irons in the fire. If we get the ice, old middle boy and I have a trip planned, but we're again waiting on the ice for that to happen. We're gonna go do some lake trout fishing. It's the Straits of Mackinac. So the Straits of Mackinac, the Mackinac Bridge joins the Lower Peninsula and the Upper Peninsula. So right there in the Straits, you can jig the lake trout when you get the ice, and it's 50, 60 foot deep where you jig them, but you can see bottom. So it's pretty cool. So it's something where, like I say, it's in the works, but Mother Nature has to cooperate. This guy, I've never seen him on any of my videos, but shout out Lake Orion. That must be what the PCJ stands for, but yeah, shout out Lake Orion. Go Dragons, baby. Let's get caught up on a couple. Joe Nager says, Hobie Kayak. Sorry, I'm bumping my phone, guys. Is it shaky on my screen?
Yeah, Joe was saying he answered my question. It was the native watercraft Slayer 10. I guess that must be what his wife has. I thought it was something different, but that must be the one his wife has. And I've heard all kinds of good things about their kayaks. So
this guy, I'm just gonna call him Lake Orion, PCJ. He's got one of those perception outlaws, big man with a 100-pound dog, no problem. So that's good to know. Canadian fishing musician. If you guys don't follow him, man, he does a lot of live streams, and he's really big supporter of the community, YouTube community, and he can make custom music for you. He's a musician, so check him out. He does a lot of cool live streams, like some of the stuff I've been attempting while I'm out fishing. I got the idea from Rich. That's Rich, the Canadian fishing musician. He's going live quite often. I'm just trying to get caught up on the comments here. I love what's this one?
Julian was saying I wouldn't know anything about this, but Julian was asking, what about kayaks with trolling motors?
Okay, so there's a lot of them, and Jay, you might know more than I do. There's a lot of them that actually are compatible with, and there's some that have actual brackets that you can buy aftermarket. Mine, the Three Waters Big Fish, I had to make a custom bracket. I'll put a trolling motor on mine, but I had to really think outside the box because I didn't want to drill a hole in it. I do know Hobie has a pretty quick attachment for putting a trolling motor on and off without having to drill any holes. But outside of that, I know Three Waters is coming out with some stuff. After talking to Roland there, he said that they got things in the works for trolling motor attachments.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, any kayak for the most part, you can get a trolling motor on there. The easiest way is going to be like a side mount where you're kind of reaching over your side and doing it. I mean, I'm not a fan of that, but a lot of them have, they'll come out with ones like you said, Lucas, that are compatible. So Hobie is out of the box. I mean, yeah, you need a mount, but it's compatible. And then you got ones like the Old Town Autopilot series. So I just bought an Autopilot in November. So I've only been out on it once, but it's built. The cool thing is the whole kayak's built around the motor. So it comes with a spot lock and everything on it. And so it's just a seamless kind of integration there. But I'm all about it, man. Next year, I'm going to take advantage. The first thing I noticed when I took it out for that full day of kayaking in the Autopilot was how refreshed I was at the end of fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not out there pedaling for 10 hours. So I actually get out the boat and I have strength to go throw my kayak back in the bed.
And to touch on that, so my kayak's a pedal drive, right? And it's a big boat, but Brian, I'll go fishing with him, and his is a paddle kayak, and he smokes me out there. Like he'll be a quarter mile ahead of me, and I'm just like, so that's pros and cons to, you know, big kayaks, little kayaks, all that type of stuff. Where he's, you know, he can, if we were to race, dude, I wouldn't even attempt it. You know, even with my trolling motor, like I say, I'm not breaking land speed records out there. The trolling motor for me, what was nice was when I'm fishing big water, if I catch a couple fish, I can hit that spot lock, and then I stay right there, and I can pick the school apart. And a lot of my good days out there was full credit to that trolling motor, because I was able to just hold my location right there. Granted, an anchor would do pretty much the same as well, but at the same time, it's nice not to completely burn yourself out when you're out there, especially if you put on that one day we put eight miles on, I think it was, on Lake St. Clair.
Right. But and like you said, you can use an anchor, but one of the problems, it wasn't really a problem, but one of the issues on that day I had where we were really slaying them was I would catch a fish, I would see a lot of fish around me underneath, you know, followers and whatnot. And by time I got the fish unhooked and did whatever, held it up to the camera, put it in real quick, I didn't know how far I had drifted. I would have loved to have had a spot lock or something like that where I could have just stayed right there. I was hitting on my Garmin, I was hitting a waypoint, but then I'd have to paddle back, and you can't just drop. Everyone says just drop an anchor. You can't drop an anchor while you're, you know, tending to a fish. You just can't. So the trolling motor, it is a big thing. Sometimes I wish I had something like that, a spot lock. But yeah, I just need my speed. You know, like I told you before, I got to be able. And another thing with my small kayak, sometimes boats will be coming at me, and it's nice to have that speed where, you know, I can see them from a quarter mile away, and I can paddle out of their way, or out of their line, you know, out of their direction they're cruising in, way before they get to me. So I need that. With a small kayak like mine, it is kind of nice to have that speed. I do like that, especially out on Lake St. Clair. So
Dan Holf, probably butchered his last name. I went jigging for lake trout in Little Traverse Bay, which Jay. So here's Michigan. Little Traverse Bay is going to be up here by the tip of the pinky. It was great until I flipped the kayak. Not a good situation. Well, no, that is not a good situation. Brian can speak to that, but I've never flipped mine, but I fell out of it, and that still wasn't fun.
well, hopefully that never happens to me again. That was my mistake. That wasn't even my kayak's fault. That was all me. If I was sitting down like I was supposed to.
Right. Okay, yeah, man. Cheers. Love Lake St. Clair.
What's a Torqeedo motor? Everybody's talking about Torqeedo motors.
I don't know, but I was going to mention that Bixby. I don't know, that Bixby motor is becoming popular too. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
No, so Torqeedos are they're like 3 horsepower electric motors. So they're technically like an outboard motor that are electric, but they're crazy fast. So a lot of the Hobie guys will throw one on. It's like $3,000 or something nuts.
Oh, that takes the 36-volt battery.
Yeah, it's crazy fast. So I saw a guy that had one at the last tournament I was fishing, and he says he doesn't put it up to this top speed because it scares him. And he was in his PA 14, so I mean that's a big boat, and he's blowing at 7 miles per hour.
Yeah, I seen. So it's funny that now that you say that, it actually pulled up on my Facebook for either Facebook or Instagram in the feed, that motor, because I was looking into it. The motor's expensive, but I think the battery would cost you more if you get a good 36-volt lithium. I think the battery would cost you more than the motor. That's the issue with that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing a lot of people don't think of when you get a trolling motor is that you want a good lightweight battery, and lithium batteries, although they're fantastic, expensive. What's up, Ray Dancer? Ray's checking in on Facebook. Thanks for stopping. Scott Hill Outdoors says flipping sucks. Yeah, Scott. And I remember watching your video. He flipped Lake St. Clair in the springtime, and
that had to be cold. That time of year, I remember watching that video as well, and I was just thinking he must have been freezing. And I think he continued to fish that day.
He did,
which was amazing. Which was amazing because I think I would have been done. Luckily, when I flipped, it was Labor Day weekend. It was water was warm, and actually the water felt good. When Scott flipped, and he just made a careless mistake. He was reaching back for the net or putting the net back or something, and he went in. And he had phenomenal footage. If you guys haven't seen that, you gotta check that out sometime. I'm surprised this video never went viral because he caught two great angles of it. He had either a chest cam or a head cam as well as the front camera, and he recovered all the footage. And I don't think he lost anything either. He did a good job not losing anything. He had all his rod floats and everything. His game was on point with kayak, and as far as not losing any gear, I don't think he lost anything at all. If I remember right, if he did, Scott, you could leave a comment. But I think he kept pretty much all of his gear when he did that too.
Yeah, I stumbled across that video one day. I was like, I forgot how he titled it, but I'm like, well, because I'm always watching Lake St. Clair videos, right? And I'm like, ooh, all right, guy fell in the, and it was you look at when it was posted, I'm like, man, this just happened. And so I was watching, I was like, holy shit, he did go in, and that water was cold then. That was still springtime. But yeah, Scott Hill Outdoors, check that out. He's a big duck hunter too.
Joe from Parabellum said, I appreciate you stopping by, Joe. Always love chatting with you. He said you might come back later.
Okay. Rich says, got to run, champ. Thanks for the great fishing education stream from all three. Cheers.
I guess I was wrong. Scott Hill did lose his stringer, but that was the only thing he lost when he flipped. So I'd say that's a win.
It's not too bad. But Brian, remember I did one of my fishing mod videos, and you were like, "Man, I really got to get them rod floats," because that was one of my cheap fishing mods.
Yeah,
you never got them.
Right? What was that? Like 2 weeks later, I ended up flipping, and the first thing I did one of the first things I did when I was recuperating everything, all my losses, and crying about it. One of the first things I went out and got a rod float. I got 3 rod floats. And you know what? Funny story. You guys don't know about this because I never posted a video. I went out the other day, maybe about a week or 2 ago, and my plan was to go on my kayak, and I was going to take ice fishing rods, and I was just going to do some jigging near where the ice had stopped. And I went out there, and it was windy. I didn't bring my anchor. I messed up. And while I was messing around with everything, I dropped one of my ice rods in the water. Who would have thought I needed a float on an ice rod, but I did. So that's 5 rods this year. I think I'm going for the record on losing rods off the kayak in a 365 calendar span.
Jeez.
But yeah, who would have thought I needed rod floats on that? But yeah, I do have 3 rod floats, and I did not accidentally. I tested them out. They work really well. So I don't think I'll ever flip again. I'll be a lot more careful, but God forbid I do. I know my rods are going to float. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting the rod floats. And I should get some of those other things you recommend in that video. I don't have like the nice knife. And you mentioned a few other things. That video, it was really helpful though.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was like, as long as you got, to me, the PFD is number 1. You had one on when you went in, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would never go on Lake St. Clair without one. It'd be stupid too.
No, I just saw a video. I don't know if it's a new video. Some guy was off of the coast in Jersey in a Lifetime kayak. He was probably a couple 100 yards out with 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts, no life jacket, tips his freaking kayak. It was 48 degrees, the water temp. And by the grace of God, man, someone from the shore saw him fall over and called the cops, and they sent out, I guess, the Coast Guard. But he was out there for 30 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
In 48 degree water, he's lucky he's not dead.
Yeah, they put him, and he had, what he was trying to do was he caught this really nice striper, so he was trying to take this selfie, and sure enough, he when he went to lift up the fish, he spun right over.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, because I remember my first year of kayak fishing. I didn't flip, but I have the footage of it. And I didn't realize how close I was to flipping, but I caught a nice pike. I'm holding the pike up. Same thing, taking a photo. and holding that pike up to my, to my left, all of a sudden that
Throws
kayak
you
started
off.
going. I remember going, whoa. And when I went and checked the footage later, I was a lot closer to tipping than I had thought. So yeah, I would never go out without a life jacket. I've been out in 4 or 5 foot of water and I've still had my life jacket on. It doesn't bother me if you get a nice life jacket. Now, if you have like a really lousy, crappy life jacket that's uncomfortable, you're not going to want to wear it. But if you got a life jacket like you or I have, I think you have the NRS like I have, and those things are so comfortable. You don't even realize you're wearing them. I get out of my kayak sometimes and I have to move my car. I can get in my car with that life jacket on.
Yeah.
That's how comfortable. Drive my car a mile or do whatever I need to do with the life jacket. And that's how comfortable it is. So, yeah, those NRS, they're a little expensive, but I highly recommend getting something real nice like that with a high back where where the actual float of the PFD isn't against your seat, because you're gonna want to wear it. It's not going to be an issue. Or get something like Lucas wears. He wears those ones that self-inflate when you fall in the water.
I found out they work.
Yeah, you just basically
They
got to get
definitely work.
You got to get something comfortable, because then you're always going to wear it.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no issue wearing mine.
It scared the living shit out of me, dude, when that thing went off. Because I wasn't, I was kind of like blacked out, right? Like I remember trying to sit down, I lost my balance, and then out the boat I went, and then all of a sudden, poof, 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 all the Velcro was busting. But dude, that thing inflated like right now, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. This thing was pretty cool.
Was it kind of like a Tommy Boy thing with the life preserver?
That's how I felt too. That's how I felt. I wanted to mention his comment, a stump jumper. He said, got to give you a tour of my topwater 10.5 last winter. I restored his power in Bloomfield. So it's talk about a small world. I ran into this dude. He was out of power. So I worked for the power company, and he was out of power. Didn't know him from Adam, right? And I noticed his kayak. So I'm like, oh, you kayak fish? He's like, yeah, this and that. And we were bullshitting, right? And I talked to Brian, I think it was, and I'm like, yeah, this dude, he was showing me pictures. He was on Fish Brain, whatever, Stump Jumper or Facebook, and he's like, oh, that's my buddy. And little did I know, him and Brian are somewhat fishing buddies, right? And they live, Christ, 40 miles
I've never
apart.
I've never had the opportunity to fish with him, but I chat with him all the time, and I've texted him. He's given me a lot of tips as far as, especially when I was getting new into the game, about what kind of gear I should buy. So yeah, he's a really good guy. And he knows Roland Martin too. I was watching a Roland Martin video one time, and all of a sudden there's Stump Jumper on there. I'm like, no way! Like, what are the? I see him on the thumbnail. I'm like, how does this guy know Roland Martin?
Right. And I just randomly run into him in the middle of the night. I'm knocking on the door, and he's like, yeah, I'm out of power, whatever. And I'm like, dude, you got a badass kayak. I'll set up here. So we spent a half hour talking about kayak fishing before I even got to figure out what was going on with his lights. But oh yeah, so Darius Stump Jumper is a slayer. My man, Dennis.
He was slaying him out on Harson's. I went out there right after. He gave me all these tips, where to go. I go, I'm all excited. I go out to Harson's, and I think I caught like one smallmouth, where the day before he had caught, or a couple days before he had caught, just boatloads of them. So he definitely knows what he's doing. He's got a nice little lake by his home that he fishes a lot. But and at first, when I first used to watch or look at his page, he has a FishBrain account, and that's where I found him, on FishBrain. And I'm like, okay, he can catch him on that one little lake by his house. And then I'm like, does he fish anywhere else? And yeah, sure enough, he goes out, fishes everywhere, and he outfishes everyone. So he is a hammer. He knows what he's doing out there, guys.
So this comment here, that's my buddy Dennis. He works for a muskie charter on Lake St. Clair. If you see his picture there. So where he caught that one is where I've been doing my muskie fishing. And
are you saying D3X fishing? That's Dennis?
Yeah, that's Dennis. Yeah, he works for Mr. Muskie or whatever. You'll see a lot of pictures of him on Facebook. So he makes a living, muskie fishing, but not in the off season. He's out there casting. And I ran into him at Sportsman's Direct the one morning. I was going to get some baits, and he was walking out with some baits. And I'm like, "You heading to the spillway?" He's like, "Oh, what's up, man?" So yeah, we conversate on Instagram quite a bit. And he's asking. So I bought these glide baits recently from Chaos Tackle, and I've been using them, but I haven't got bit on. Dude, I've only gotten bit on the Muskie Innovation Bulldog, and I got bit on that Storm jerkbait. That's the only muskie I've caught her on those two lures, and it's not lack of casting anything different, man. I'm throwing everything but the kitchen sink at them. But
I'm actually surprised I've never run into Dennis. He's all over the place, and I've yet to run into him. I run into almost everyone else in this small community, and I've never run into Dennis, not yet. But I see him. I see him all the time on Facebook. I know exactly who he is. So
yep.
Whether it's catfish, muskie, what doesn't matter. That guy slays them as well.
Oh,
and
he
usually from the bank. I mean, I know he's on that charter as well, but he can catch it from the bank, and that's a true testament of how good a fisherman you are. Because I'm not the best fisherman from the bank. It's a lot more difficult when you're on the shore.
It is, and it's dirty, man. It's dirty. Like I've been, dude, all my fishing clothes, like my rod, my reel are covered in mud and shit, and like all my pants and everything's just mud covered. And I'm like, my GoPro's got like dirt everywhere. I'm trying to dig it out. I'm like, dude, this is a grind, you know. And you get a little moisture, and at that spillway, you got that embankment, and you're trying to walk up and change baits, and you're slipping, falling on your ass.
Right. Yep. Same thing. Like when I went out to sea, I almost slipped on those rocks and hit my head a couple times. It's pretty dangerous, you know. The one day I went right after work. I'm like, I'm gonna go right after work. Huge mistake because I got these like 8-inch black boots. You know, I got to keep my uniform all nice, and I got like just covered in absolute mud. And I forgot to clean them off, and I go to work the next day too. And everybody's like, what the heck are you doing? You know, I got 3 inches of mud up on my boots. So yeah, bank fishing is not my favorite, but Dennis definitely knows what he's doing out there. I like to stick to my kayak.
Well, bank fishing, like for me, it's like right now, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow for walleye. But bank fishing it's better than nothing, you know, and that's kind of how I look at it. Like I just, but dude, I honestly have been striking out so bad that I'll catch. I mean, I don't care what bites tomorrow. If anything bites, I don't care what it is. I need to pull one in because I'm due big time, man.
Right.
Oh yeah, and after it's been a while like that, I mean, you've been skunking out the last couple of times on them muskies.
Oh man!
As soon as you get that first hit, dude, you're gonna set that hook like never before.
I might cry. Oh fuck! Shit. So what else we got? We got Dennis putting. I'm surprised I haven't ran into you either. Stump Jumper's got the dinner bell going. Well, that's good. Hopefully you're having something good. We ordered some jets. So Jay, I want to ask you. How do you pronounce your last name? Valentin? Okay, so at the Valentin household, what's the menu on football? You know, you got the Philly, the Eagles playing. You guys doing a pizza? What are you doing? Wings?
Usually wings, dude. I love wings. Okay. So 9 out of 10 is going to be wings.
Okay.
And then we'll make some pizza for the kids because then not all of them eat wings.
Okay.
But Chinese food works.
Nice.
And sushi works too. So we love sushi, man.
Nice. So yeah, I'd fit right in over there.
Oh yeah, dude.
Dude, my kid loves wings. Like, she loves wings, ribs. I got a pellet grill, so I do some barbecuing and stuff. But she's always asking for ribs. Always asking, like, we'll make chicken wings. One thing I'm not good at is making wings though, because I'm like either overdone or I'm afraid to have them undercooked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because with chicken it's so particular, but we've been doing them in the air fryer. So we got an air fryer like 2 Christmases ago.
Yeah,
that thing is boss. Like it cooks it right. It's still crispy without the frying. So that's what we do now.
Okay, so classic pizza and wings. I like it. That same thing we do over here. We actually ordered up some Jets today. You got any Jets pizza out that way?
Nah.
No. So it's Detroit based. They're famous for their deep dish style pizza, so
okay,
that's kind of our go-to. What about you, Brian? Well, you ain't watching football. What do we got? Derek Osmolsky, he's about to eat some ribs. I just smoked on the Weber kettle. Nice.
I don't know what I'm having. It depends when my family comes home. They went out for a movie, and I don't know. It's kind of nice they didn't come home. I thought I was going to get interrupted during this live stream. But I don't know. My kids, they don't eat the wings, so we rarely get wings. We're usually a mac and cheese family. I got 2 6-year-olds and an 8-year-old. I mean, they love their mac and cheese. So, and they just like it. The problem is they like it plain. You know, if I spice it up, put some bacon in it, or do whatever. To make it nicer. They don't want that though. They just want the plain mac and cheese. And I'm like, all right. But sometimes I'll grill up some salmon. Sometimes not grill. I'll broil some salmon. And they really like that, and I'm glad they like that because it's one thing I'm good at doing. So they really like digging into the salmon. They'll eat venison as well. I got some venison. I got some venison sausage right now, which the kids love it. They'll devour it. My wife hates it. She won't touch it. So that's fine. It's more for us, more for me and the kids. So
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
And they like their
Venison.
pizza too. We do Jets as well. We do Jets or Hungry Howard's, but Jets, yeah, Jay. If you're ever up in this area, you got to try Jets. It's like you said, it's a deep dish, but it's also relatively cheap. It's not too expensive, and it's a
Yeah.
go-to around here. Everyone has had Jets
Well,
around
when I
here.
go out there and we hit Lake St. Clair, then y'all take me.
Yeah. Oh, for
Absolutely,
sure.
yeah, no problem.
Loser pays.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been making bets. I've been making bets at the spillway. I'm like, look, dude, I'll buy you guys lunch if you catch a muskie. Like, I just want to hold one and remember what they look like. And and every day I'm not there. It seems like guys catch them, but not always. But they caught a couple today, and Dennis left a comment. He missed one today, but one of the other dudes that fished there sent me a picture. They caught one today. But dude, it was snowing. It was not a blizzard, but just a steady snow all day. And I didn't have plans to fish today, but Monday's like my fishing morning. I can get up early and go. So I'm gonna go try the Saginaw River for walleye tomorrow. I'm just gonna cast from shore and pop a jig head and a finesse minnow on the bottom and see if I can't get something to bite.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about lures, you guys got a confidence bait that you use? Like if you're really not hitting it, what are you putting on?
Drop shot.
Yeah.
But and so let me follow up with that because these guys, Darius right here, I'll pull him up. Him and Brian. So Darius is like the drop shot king, and I never wanted to throw because I'm a power fisherman, dude. And I've had Darius on my boat before, and he knows how I like to fish. Um, but they're like, oh, you gotta try the drop shot, and then Brian's like, oh yeah, I'm catching him on a drop shot, and I'm like, man, screw that, I ain't throwing that around. Like that's just ridiculous. And then I was on an inland lake here, a great smallie lake, nice little hidden gem, and and I threw the drop shot, and on the first cast, I landed like a 19-inch smallie. I was like, okay. And I was using a Z-Man Streaks minnow, so a bigger presentation. Um, but after that bite, I was like, okay, I see what it's about now. And all summer long, I took it and ran with it, dude. Like, if I'm not getting bit on a Ned rig or swim bait and a jig head's another. Um, but if I really need a bite, they're either gonna bite the drop shot or the dark sleeper. Those are my go-to.
Okay.
And I'll second him on that. It wasn't until this year I really tried the drop shot. I tried it like on one trip last year. I didn't really know what I was doing. This was the year I finally started doing it all the time, and I just started catching big smallmouth with it constantly. And after that, I never looked back. It's always, and it doesn't matter what you throw in it. You could throw really small baits. I've thrown, I think who makes them? I think 6th Sense makes the 5.2 jerk baits. I've used that on the drop shot as well. And it's just a phenomenal bait. Even up until I think I did that Halloween video where I had the scream mask, and pretty much every fish.
That was
That
probably the
was-
most hilarious video.
Dude,
Dude.
that was funny. That was a good video.
Everything on that was pretty much. I think maybe one catch wasn't, but everything was a drop shot. It's such a nice bait because you can use it all season. It doesn't get caught up in the weeds that much. You know, you can always stay above the weeds, and the fish are going to see it because it's not stuck in the muck or real low. I like that you can tie different lengths on it. You can really keep it. Sometimes I do like 2 foot, 3 foot leaders even to really keep it above some of those taller weeds. Sometimes I keep it right at the bottom, 6 inches off the bottom. So
that's the flush minnow from 6th Sense. It's called the flush.
Yep, the flush. And I was using I think it was like a sunfish color on it, and I did really well on that. Was catching a lot of big smallmouth earlier this year on it. So
Yeah.
and then I'd agree. Like my second one would be the Ned rig. Just because I've kind of transitioned more. I still like doing the largemouth fishing. I'll still go to Harson's and really small channels and stuff like that and try to go after largemouth. I enjoy the atmosphere when I'm largemouth fishing. It's usually better scenery and it's a lot of fun. The top water bite's usually better for largemouth. But once you start catching the smallies, I mean, it's just like a drug. You just want to. You always want to go out. Like
dude,
you look at that
drug.
You'll look at the weather and you'll be like, oh, I can't smallie fish today. And it's just so depressing. Oh, I gotta go find some small channel and stay out of the wind. So yeah, I'd say my two are the drop shot, the Ned rig, and
what do you got, Jay? What's your go-to?
All right. So first of all, I'll say I see you, Joe, and when I go over there, he's taking me out. So we'll have a beer. But my two is probably like a bit like a Kayak with an 1/8 ounce jig head. You know what I mean? Like a Kayak swim bait, like a 4-inch. I feel like I purposely did not throw it much this year because I was relying on it too much the year before that. And I really wanted to expand my horizons. But anytime I'm in a pinch, I throw that thing out there, and most of the time it delivers. And just in a regular like a sexy shad color or a black and blue, and you don't even got to mix the jig heads. I just got the cheap Eagle Claw jig heads, and those things work just fine. So I've caught little tiny perches on it. I've caught big bass on it, so it works. So if I'm hurting, I'll put that on, or a jerk bait. So like a hard jerk bait, a Rapala, a shadow wrap, or something like that. So
You were doing good on that jerk bait for them smallies in your last video there.
yeah, man, that was up in the Finger Lake. So I mean, that thing hits like most of the year. You can get some results in that. I mean, I find the spring right up until like it gets really hot in the summer. But I did do the drop shot for the first time this year. Like I really actually fished it. So I was turned off at first from it because every single fish I caught with it was a dink, dude. Like something tiny, little tiny perch, little tiny bass. Like I probably caught 10 fish on that thing. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And I think I commented on a video that one of you guys put up, and Lucas was like, no, you got to put a big lure on there if you want to catch a big fish. So the next day I went out, and I had this big 10-inch purple worm that I've never fished before. And because I think it looks like a cool lure, which is why I bought it, but it also looks quite ridiculous. So I asked my buddy, I was like, yo, you think I should throw this on? He's like, why not? Throw it on, first cast it out. With the drop shot, it's probably like a 12-inch leader. I pulled up a 5-pound largemouth on that thing, man. He just nailed that worm.
Yeah, dude. It's just a different presentation, but was nice. Dude, you can wacky rig the drop shot. You can wacky rig a Senko.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way to do it in deeper water. There's so many different and so like I said, I'm a power fisherman. I actually power fish the drop shot, and Darius watches me do it. I don't cast it and let it sit there. Like as soon as that's hitting bottom, I'm almost jigging it. You know what I mean? And I'm pulling it, letting it hit bottom, reel my slack, pulling it, letting it hit. Because my patience is paper thin, and it's so like.
Well, I fish it the same way, and it doesn't really feel too much of a power fishing to me. But the reason I started fishing like that is I saw you catching a lot more than I was catching on the drop shot by constantly giving the pull, the reel. Whereas Darius, he likes to let. Oh,
he leaves it sit there. Yeah, he lets it out. Just sit. Yeah, he cast it out there and it's just chilling. I'm like, all right, but dude, what sold me the one day? So when Joe, Live to Fish Joe, and
right.
What's his name there? Beard Zero. We all met up, and Darius. Darius and I went to the main lake on St. Clair. He was catching everything on drop shot, and I had never fished it. And he was kicking my ass. Like I think I caught like 2 smallies that day. And every time I turn around, he's over there like this, rod doubled over. He's just bringing in another one. I'm like, come on, dude. Like what? He's like, oh, I'm just throwing the drop shot, man. I'm like, all right, I got to try this shit because I just I don't know. I was just kind of wasn't a big drop shot guy, but now drop shot is shit. That's all you need out there, dude. Drop shot rod, a bag of Berkeley flatworms, and some drop shot weights. And
Lucas was so against it. He almost compared it to just fishing with live bait. He's like, oh, it's just like might as well fish with live bait. Just go get some worms and just leave a bobber out there and just leave. There's nothing different than drop shot. And he's always cracking jokes about the drop shot and texting me things about the drop shot. I'm not going to say on here, but he was very anti drop shot for sure. But
no, I'm #1 advocate for that bitch now.
Yeah,
no, I keep one tied on now.
It's amazing, and like you said, you could use a little drop shot hook with those big flush jerkbait ones. I was using a an offset eating, an offset.
Like you're talking about like a zoom, like those zoom,
like a
flukes?
a fluke, yeah.
Yeah, but these ones, the one that 6 Cents made, it was basically a fluke, but it was a 5.2-inch fluke So it's gigantic. And I was putting that on an offset EWG hook, making it weedless and taking it. I had mainly tried doing that because I was fishing in weeds that were like 3-4 foot tall. And so I needed something that wouldn't get all snagged up on the weeds. So I put that on an EWG hook, rigged it weedless, and it killed just fishing that. You wouldn't think to fish that on a drop shot. I actually got that. I got that advice from my buddy Dan Holland. He fishes on Lake St. Clair out on his bass boat all the time, and he had told me about rigging that flush on the EWG, and it worked really well. Some guys around here have won local tournaments doing that.
Hey Jay, you ever watch that? He's on YouTube. Either one of you guys. It's Absolute Unit Media. So he does a lot of muskie fishing in PA, and I was just wondering if you recognized any of the waters he was fishing over there. You have to look him up. It's it's Absolute Unit Media.
All right, check him out.
He does some lake fishing, but he does a lot of river fishing too.
Yeah. They do a lot of muskie fishing out in the rivers here. We have a couple like decent fisheries for muskie, but I think up north, like in New York, they got a lot better fisheries.
And this dude makes it look easy, man. Like,
yeah. No, man. If you're not, I mean, you guys ain't from here, but Pennsylvania does a far worse job at the conservation and the fishing game does in New York. So New York kills it up there, man. Like they really put a lot of effort into their fishing game, like all their stuff, dude. They're running surveys all the time. Like people actually like them up there.
Right. Scott Hill was talking about how tubes can crush them on Lake St. Clair, which is true. I don't fish them nearly enough. Tubes can crush them, especially if that's another one where you just want to cast out there and leave it. Because there's been times I got bird nests. I'm trying to fix a bird nest, and I fix that bird nest. I start reeling in the slack, and I got a fish on that tube. Because with gobies, they like to just sit on the bottom. They don't move very much. That's one thing I learned with that yo-yo underwater camera. I saw some gobies on it. They just sit there. They don't do anything.
Right.
So I'm not sure if a tube would work out in Pennsylvania where you're at, since you may not have gobies like we have or anything like that. But tube, Scott's right. Tube is a killer confidence bait out here, at least at Lake St. Clair, mainly because of the gobies. But even
try them.
Yeah, even Beard Zero down in Texas, he was catching them recently, just a couple weeks ago, using goby tubes. So you don't necessarily need to have gobies in your area for them to work out.
No, and it's just like a Ned rig. Like I don't know what they think they're eating when they eat that, but it's like, why are they eating it? You know what I mean? It's like it's the dumbest little bait. You know what I mean? Right. But fish just destroy them. I don't know if it's just reaction bite. They just see something moving, they got to eat it.
Yeah. Well, when you fish it, are you crawling it, or are you kind of popping it up?
Popping it, yeah.
Okay.
See, I don't. When I fish a tube, I'm usually doing it real slow. I'm like dragging it, and then I let it sit. I rarely pop the tube. I like to drag it.
I call it cracking it. My stepdad there, Zona, he said cracking the tube was the way to go. And so that's what I do. I just take a medium light rod and just whip it, almost like a jerk bait, but it's on the bottom. And called cracking a tube.
Okay.
Yeah, my stepdad, Mark Zona.
Yeah, that's the running joke. He always calls Mark Zona's stepdad. Some people believe him. Some people he runs with it sometimes, and they believe him. That's why. Then I'll give Lucas crap about my stepdad KVD all the time.
Well, I'm gonna be honest and shout out Zona. I doubt he's on here, but that dude comments more on my Instagram than anybody else that follows me on Instagram. Like likes my pictures, all that stuff, and he's always commenting something. So I would mess with Brian, and I'm like, yeah, Zona's my step, because he's like, well, how are you getting him to comment on there? I said he's my stepdad. So he believed me for the longest time. And Joe Nager just left a comment. I believed it at first. Because Joe actually, because me and Joe exchanged numbers, he texted me. He's like, dude, I didn't know Zona was your stepdad. And I'm like, well, he's really not. But
right. Joe believed it a lot longer than I believed it. I only for a second there. But my stepfather, he's a big BSer too. So like I'm used to, weeding that kind of stuff out. So I figured you were lying, but I'm like, maybe he's not. He's really good at fishing and outdoorsman type stuff. I'm like, maybe he really is Zona's dad. But And like you said, stepdad. I know it wasn't your real dad. Look at your hair and everything. There's no way Zone is your dad, you know?
Right. You can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Right.
Oh, that's good stuff, though. No, it's cool running into KVD at that expo, man. And we talked to him. Dylan was there with me. We walked in together, and KVD was right there when we walked in. We're like, and I was shooting GoPro footage while I was there, but I had just kicked it off, and I was like, "Hey, KVD, can we get a picture?" He's like, "Yeah," but he was doing some I think a Facebook story or something because he had his phone up and he was talking. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to bother him too much, and he had some seminars going on that day, but it was nice to get a picture with him. We bullshitted for like 5 minutes and then carried on, but
nice. Yeah, I didn't get to make it up there this year. It's a great show. I went last year. It's a lot of fun, but I just didn't have the time. I was working every single day. It's one of the best shows in the country for sure. A lot of good deals out there too. Is that your dog there, Lucas?
What's that?
Is that your dog? The dog is under the chat?
No, it's my dog, man. He's going crazy.
Is it? That's Chase?
No, my dog's just laying over here. He's chilling.
Now let me grab that guy real quick.
No, it's not that distracting.
No,
I thought it was Lucas's.
No, my dog's he's done for the day, man. I took him for a walk. What did you do today, anyways?
Who, me?
Yeah, what did you do? You work today?
Oh yeah, I work. My days off rotate, so I got to work. I had to work today. I work tomorrow. Then I got the next 3 days off, and I don't think I'll be doing a lot of fishing. We have a lot of things booked at the house, like plumbers and someone look at my furnace. Yeah, I looked at my I looked at my 3 days off, and there's something planned on every. My wife has something planned on every day. I'm like, great.
I told you, I get Darius over there. He'll work on that for you.
Yeah, that's right. Darius does the the heating and cooling, and that could be my new go-to guy.
What'd you do today, Jay? Just chill out, watch some football, whatever. You guys working the kayaks?
No, so we did church this morning, which is our typical Sunday routine. So we'll go to church. And after that we was just doing some household chores. So kind of same thing here as Brian. Like we just got a big list. I can't do nothing during I try to do everything in the wintertime because in the summer I try to take all the time that I can to fish. Summer, spring, fall. So we just try to bang everything out. So
nice.
So we just came home, cleaned out the garage, took care of some stuff online, but yeah, man. So I didn't have to edit no videos today because I took care of it over the weekend. So the cool thing is when I don't procrastinate, I could spread it out and edit a little bit Monday, Tuesday, instead of cramming in a 6-hour session on a weekend.
Yeah, I hear you. And sometimes I have an issue with that for me personally because I feel like if I'm in the zone of the edit, I can I try to get it to the point where the video's done. Now I can go through and cut little bits and pieces out, but I like to get all my clips in that I want to put in because if I'm not in the same mindset for whatever reason, I have a hard time going back to it. So I got to dial it in. Then that's just me, you know what I mean? If I'm editing a video, I like to try to just get it 75% because then, dude, I'll watch it, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. I'll watch the video before it's complete. 90% of the time, I'll watch it probably 6-7 times, and then I'm always cutting a little bit or you know what I mean? Just trying to make it perfect. Well, not perfect, but good enough. They'll never be perfect, but I just make it good enough to where I'm happy with it and then go on. But the one I just uploaded of the steelhead fishing, dude, I don't know if you guys have issues. I know Brian, we talked about this, but the SD cards, I use the Samsung, which I've never had issues with. And then I had a couple of the SanDisk, and I'll have issues where I'll lose an entire card. I'll lose the entire card of footage. It'll say card needs to be formatted, deleting all files to format card. And I'm like, why is it doing it? So I just ended up throwing them all out because I've never had to format a card before. And Brian's like, yeah, you got to format the cards. And I'm like, because I guess other people have had issues. I'm like, man, I've been filming for over 2 years and I've never had an issue like that other than this brand of SD card. And they had good reviews. So that kind of beat me up a little bit because I lost footage from the steelhead trip and I lost footage. I actually got out, I hammered some crappies first ice and lost the entire bite I had. Dude, my first drop, I landed a 13-inch crappie.
Damn.
Lost all the footage, and I had caught like 8 or 10 really nice crappie. All the footage was gone.
That's one thing I always do. When I first had the SanDisk, I never had a lot of problems with them, but one day I remember it was hot, and I used to always just erase all the footage. I'd erase the footage and record new footage, erase it, record. And after a while, I started having some issues with the SD card. I would get messages saying that there was some kind of issue and it needed to be formatted. So now what I do is every time after I'm done editing everything I need, I save it to my computer, I save it to an external hard drive, and then I just format that card every single time. And since I've been doing that, I have not had a single problem. Doesn't matter if it's warm outside, cold. I haven't lost any footage ever since I started formatting those cards. I thought I had the other day, but I was wrong. I had missed something when I was in the editing process. So that's what I'd recommend. I mean, I know you said you threw them away. Next time, if you're going to do that, give them to me because I'll just format them. And I haven't had an issue with them at all.
Well, and they weren't. So I shoot everything in 4K, and these were. If I shoot in 4K, I get like an hour out of them. So that's why. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna eliminate these out of the equation and be done with it because it was one thing that happened once, and I got over it, but then it happened again, and I'm like, nah, I'm done with this.
Yeah, that's happened to a couple of my SanDisk ones too. So I think once I switched, so I had a 256 gig card, and I've only ever had issues with the bigger ones. But once I came down to a 128 or a 64, the issues went away. So I just don't get big cards anymore.
See, mine were so I had issues with the small ones. So my 256s, the Samsungs, phenomenal. Knock on wood. I'm going fishing tomorrow, so I don't want to have issues with it. But for whatever reason, maybe they were knockoff SanDisks, but I didn't think they were. I mean, it's.
See, you film in 4K. That's one thing I rarely do. I'll do it if I'm doing a very short video on a product review or something like that. But personally, I don't shoot a lot of 4K because when I do get to the process where I'm going to edit it, I have a decent computer, a decent laptop. I think it's pretty good until I start editing 4K, and then that stuff just lags forever. And I'm just sitting there, and I can't tell if my cuts are good because this thing is just lagging.
No.
Whereas I never had that problem if I shoot in 1080. So, and honestly, 1080 is usually fine for what I'm doing on the lake. It's just when I do product reviews or something where I want that product close up, I want you to see all the details on it, then I'll shoot 4K. And I feel that, and plus when you're doing a product review, I feel if you're going to do a review for a company, they give you their product, they trust you to do a review and give you that product for free. I think it's a good idea to do 4K or do the best quality if you can, to give them their best look.
Now, so I shoot 4K, and the reason I did is because I personally like the quality of it, but I've had multiple people tell me, because people watch it on TV. I don't watch YouTube a lot on TV, but a lot of people do. And they're like, dude, that 4K is badass. Like it's crystal clear. Like if you have a 4K TV and your provider's 4K, if the stars align just right, which on my TV it is because I actually watched it on TV, I was like, dude, this is totally different than watching it on your phone. Because on my phone it looks like any other video, when you're watching a video. But when you pull it up on the big screen, it's like, dude, this is sweet. Like it's razor sharp.
Yeah. That's when you notice the difference. Your phone will never notice. But also, I always shoot in 4K only because I heard YouTube penalizes you if you don't. I don't know if it's true, but I was like, I'm gonna just shoot in 4K anyways.
Right.
But like whenever you got to zoom into something, so if you got to scale in to catch a fish or a lure you want to show off or something when you're out on the water, it does it a little bit crisper.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. That when I do want to zoom in on something, that's when I feel like, oh man, I wish I was shooting in 4K because you're just not going to see it. But yeah, for the most part, I'm fine shooting in 1080p. It doesn't really bother me. But you're right about watching it on the television. I know my parents watch my videos on the television. I know Joe Nager watches everything on the television. And so a very small percentage, like when I go in my stats and my analytics, a very small percentage of the people that watch my videos watch them on TV, but there are people out there. Maybe it might only be 2-3% of your viewers watch it, but it does make a big difference to those 2 or 3%.
I want to start watching more YouTube on TV, just because I do appreciate the extra quality. We got Joe with a fish. I had no idea what I'm doing. I just shoot and press play and start fishing.
Well, one time Joe had a funny story where I forgot what he was fishing for, but he wanted to try the head cam. First time he wanted to try the head cam, he's like, "Oh, I got lots of great footage of the clouds." You know, he had it angled all wrong.
Yeah.
So, and he was slamming them that day, but had no video because it was just, you know, it was his first time, and he's like, "I got great scenery clips of the sky and the clouds. It was a beautiful day, but I got no video of any of my catches." So,
Well, and that's part of with the head cam. So, I mean, segue into that real quick is I used to wear the chest cam, but somebody had commented, they're like, "Dude, your hands are always in the way, or your reel, or especially if you're in a kayak, because you're like this the whole time, right? You're always right here." And even dudes on the boat, Bronak, a bunch of them other guys, like badass videos. What 50% of the footage is this is all you're seeing right here.
Yeah.
every single
I mean? And
time,
I'm
like
like,
every single time I do a video, I'll tell Lucas, I'm like, "What'd you think of that video?" And on the content, every single time, this is what he does. Every single time, he sends me a picture, and it's a picture of my hands covering the screen. He gets like the worst shot. I'm like, "Come on, dude." I'm like, I take good effort to like keep my hands out of the way. I'm conscious of it. Sometimes I'll even, when I'm fighting a fish, I'll hold it away where I don't really want to fight them like this, but I want the footage to come out well. And then no matter what, no matter how good the footage came out, a fish jumping, whatever, it's always that. Every single time
and
he
that's
sends
just
me a
me
photo.
being extra critical and just
I know
giving
you
you
are.
shit because I can, and that's you should expect that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
I'm
know.
just
No,
giving,
it makes me laugh every time because I sit there just waiting for that picture every single time. And there it is every single time. My hands in the way.
but with the head cam, the issue with that is I've missed a lot of clips because it's up here now. You know what I mean? You can't just look down and make sure you're on or kick it on, kick it off. You know. But when you're wearing a head cam, I mean, your field of view. Granted, you do a lot of this, a lot of looking. So I cut a lot of that out, but you capture every. And what's sweet is like on the kayak, like you're netting one, you're like this, and you're capturing all that. Where the chesty, you're getting like the butt of the rod or something. You know what I mean? So I had a guy comment on my video, and I changed the way I recorded it after that. I don't know and that was just me. But do I like the head cam? I would prefer to wear the chest cam, but it's just for me, I would just rather have it up here and then know I'm getting some of the better footage. And on the kayak, so I'll run that Railblaza boom too, which is nice because then you can catch a different angle.
Right. Yeah, I would do it. For me, it's just I haven't found a way to do it comfortably yet. Maybe ice fishing when I have the winter hat, it won't bother my forehead as much, but I got to be comfortable. I mean, for me, I'm not going to sacrifice.
Well, and you wear
comfort.
yours like up here though, right?
I wear it higher than most guys do. That's why my hands usually don't get in the way as much as some other people that kayak fish and wear the chesty. But I want to wear the head cam. It's just I can't do it in a way where I'm extremely comfortable. And fishing for me is fun first. I mean, I love the YouTube aspect of it, but if I'm uncomfortable, I'm not going to do it. So I probably won't ever full-time go to the head cam. I may do it in ice fishing. I may have some videos where I try it out, but my main focus is, keep it on the chest, keep it higher, try to keep my hands out of the way, but I'm going to be comfortable first.
It's not the most comfortable, but I wish I had some type of different. I know they got so I don't wear a frontwards hat a lot. I usually wear it backwards, but they got like a bill, like you can hook it to your bill and stuff.
They make hats too with the actual attachment. So my buddy from Indo has that, so you can actually just clip it right on. Because I don't like the headband, dude. It hurts my head.
No, mine too.
I don't like it. That band kind of pushes your hat in a way you don't like. When the one that goes over your head, I hate it. I can't stand it.
I cut that one off now. I cut that one off, so now it's just
the middle one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I wear it, it's comfortable if I wear my hat backward, like Lucas always does. He puts the camera in front of that, and that's comfortable to me. But then on a sunny day, I got the sun in my eyes, and now I'm not comfortable again. I'm squinting. Even with the sunglasses, it's no bueno. I need to be perfectly comfortable. I need to have my hat forward. I need my sunglasses on, and the camera. I just never felt good.
I'm not cool enough to do this, man. I'm not digging this. I like wearing my hat the way God intended it to be, bro.
The only reason I'm doing this is because I didn't know how the lighting would be in here. Because if you look at any of my video, I've never worn the hat backwards, and I always joke. I said, You'll know when I made it big time because I'll start wearing my hat backwards, like one of these Guggen guys. It's funny. I saw Dylan on the chat earlier. I'm like, I'm surprised. I mentioned once. I'm like, I'm surprised you haven't flipped your hat backwards yet, Dylan. You know, like all these other guys. You know, like getting real in the camera and doing all kind of goofy douchey thing. You know, like this is only because I didn't know how the lighting would be in here. You know, I didn't want the shadows over my eyes and whatnot. So. Next time I do a live stream with you guys, I'll flip the hat backwards. In fact, I'm wearing Lucas's hat right now. Check that out.
I'm gonna wear a cowboy hat next time.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So what else you got? So what we want to cover anything else while we're here?
Well, Joe's still in the chat, so he told me in the Facebook group that he wants to know my beard tips.
I'm listening. Okay. I gotta step off the side, but I'm listening.
All right, so grooming is top. So I don't have no hair up here, dude. So the only hair I have is on my face. So I have a barber come to my house every 2 months and he cleans it up, keep it. Otherwise, it just grows out this way.
Right.
And I get real Santa Claus-ish. But so I groom it that way, and then I actually shampoo and condition it twice a week. And on those days, I use beard oil for the skin, and I use balm like a wax balm for the hair. So and that keeps it nice and luscious.
See, I've tried doing the beard, and my stuff just grows out like a cactus, man. It's like sparse. It's all over the place. Looks like a Homer Simpson when he's trying to grow his beard. It's just all over. It's ridiculous. And people are like, you got to give it time. My cousin's like, you got to give it some time. Start using the same thing, oils and waxes or whatever. I'm like, man, I just look like ridiculous when I try to grow one. So I'll grow it a little bit, maybe 2 weeks worth, and then it's got to go. It just looks.
No, you gotta give it more time than that, man.
Nah, so, it looks like some 15-year-old trying to grow a beard. It's all over.
Because I have like two cowlicks, like one on either side. So when it's short, you can really tell, and I don't like it. But it hits a certain point that it kind of just like goes away. And like Scott Hill said, beard butter is life. So I use them, and then the beard oil. If I don't use the beard oil, my skin gets real itchy.
Mm-hmm. I try growing a beard, man, but it's just mine's real patchy, right? But my neck, I can grow a badass neck beard, but it's like super uncomfortable.
So like Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
Like an Andrew Luck?
Oh, dude, that's exactly what it is. Like, I don't get a lot up on my cheeks. Like, it cuts off short, but I grow a badass mustache. Now, I can grow a good stash. Remember, this summer I was on St. Clair and I was rocking just a stash, and I think I hammered like a 25-pound bag that day.
Yeah. You're keeping all the other fishermen away. You're there.
Power stash, bro. You can do the power stash.
Yeah. No, well, my wife hates it. She says I'm full-on creeper mode when I got the mustache.
Yo, grow the handlebars just straight down.
I actually had a mullet. We're going back 4 years ago. I was rocking a mullet there for a little bit, and I was growing my hair out completely. And the point of it was that I wanted a mullet for my buddy's wedding. And I texted her one day after I got it cut, and it was all clean cut, like I had a normal haircut again. And she goes, "Oh, it looks good." And I sent her another picture from the side, and I had the flow going back. She's like, "You're ridiculous." Like, I got people staring at me in party stores and stuff. It was great though. It's a lifestyle, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but the mullet's making a comeback.
It did, but I think people are still doing it, but a few years. So it was kind of like the COVID thing, when that was all going on, and people were growing their hair out and doing all that, and I'm still seeing them, but not as much as I was, man. And like I said, I was rocking it, but it was a bit ridiculous. I was
doing it for my kid, man. Like I've seen kids wearing mullets now. So over here, there's a lot of people. So I'm Puerto Rican. So here close by in Allentown, there's like a big Puerto Rican community. So when guys come up from Puerto Rico, you can tell immediately because they grow like a semi mullet on the back. And so it's popular. It's more popular over here. So I was this close to doing it on my son, but my wife don't let me.
So you're close to the Poconos then. Are you close to the Poconos?
Yeah, I'm like an hour drive.
Okay. I've worked out there when Pennsylvania's been hit in Jersey and all that. When they get hit with storms, we'll travel over there to restore power and stuff.
Okay. Well, you came up for Sandy?
I was there for Sandy. Yep. Dude, I don't travel as much as I used to, but I used to travel all over the U.S., man. I've been as far west as the bottom corner of South Dakota. I've been all over the Gulf when hurricanes hit, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd spend weeks out of town, but like I said, I haven't done that in quite a few years, but it was an experience for sure.
Right.
The unsung first responders,
Yeah, man.
Joe Najer had him a badass mullet in '84.
I told him I was wearing a diaper in 1984.
You're still wearing a diaper.
Right.
Some of us weren't around in '84, man.
Right. Oh, I forgot Jay's a little bit younger.
I was born
Actually,
in 80,
Lucas wasn't
89.
around. I don't think
No.
Lucas was around in '84.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
I wasn't even in a thought yet. I was shit, Jay, you guys, I'm older
Sparkle
than
in
you.
your dad's eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I'm the youngest of four boys, man. My oldest brother is, man, he's got to be almost 50.
Damn.
Yep, and I'm the baby. I'm closer to 40 than I am 30.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
See, Dennis can't relate to any of the mullet, but Dennis has some of the sweetest hair.
Dennis got them
St.
badass
Clair.
dreadlocks. Yeah.
Dennis has the most badass dreadlocks I think I've ever seen. In fact, I don't even know how he's such a good fisherman. I don't know how he can see through those dreadlocks. Sometimes you see some of those photos, you can't even see his eyes, man. So he doesn't need to wear a hat.
I hope he keeps it
I don't
going,
know how he
man.
does it. Huh?
I hope he keeps it going.
Oh, it's awesome. Best
Long
dreads
hair
in
is
the
a
game.
pain in the ass, man. I've been really considering cutting mine.
Yeah. Well, you're cutting yours for charity, so you got to hold off.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good reason to cut it.
Yep. He's gonna grow. You said you're gonna grow it out and maybe cut it and give it away.
Yeah, I haven't. No, give me a look.
Look at
Oh, wow.
that.
You do the man bun?
I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hillbilly it and just leave it back, but sometimes I do.
That's like some crazy. I don't know if you ever seen any old school like Faith No More videos. That's what you got going right there, like the Faith No More when he's headbanging that heavy head of hair.
I was headbanging
exactly
the
what
other day, dude, and I got a sore neck. We were in the car, me, the wife, and the kid, and I had some. I think I had. She had like Octane on or something, and I was over there just rocking out, right? And she's like, "You're gonna get a sore neck." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably." Sure, shit. The next morning, my neck was sore.
That's what happens when you get old, man. Everything starts to hurt.
Yeah, some days I just let them hang. My hair's locked. The only way I would be able to get rid of them is to cut them. Yeah, dude. Last time I went to the barber 2 weeks ago, and I told him, I'm like, dude, this hair is it's pissing me off. It's just high maintenance, right? And it's snagging. And I'm brushing it, and I'm like, I'm just over it. I wake up in the morning and it's like this. So he hooked me up with. He's like, you can't cut it, man, because I've been growing it over a year now without really cutting it. But I'm to the point now where when I cut it, I want to make sure it's long enough to be able to donate it. So that's kind of the idea now.
Right.
So what do we got? We're about 7:30. So what do you guys think? We just wrap it up here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit it. I can hear my kids. They're home now, so
Hey, you
We're
didn't
gonna
get
have to wrap it
interrupted,
up here.
man. That's a win.
I can hear them.
Yeah.
They're doing good. They're usually my kids are crazy, so yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely a win. It was fun doing this. I had a good time doing it. We definitely got to do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again, and maybe Jay, we can get you dialed in, and get one on your channel, and then you could stream on, because like I said, I'm watching my computer. I'm on the Facebook as well. I can't stream to that page, but if it's something you're interested in, and Brian too, you guys are pretty familiar with this platform now to be able to invite me or invite whoever, and we can we'll be talking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds good for sure. Maybe like a once a month thing or something like that.
Yeah,
And,
once a month would be cool.
I'd be down for that. Yep.
Sure, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Thank you guys for being a part of it, and thanks to everybody whoever's left. Whoever's left here, thanks for stopping in, and looking forward to doing it again. Well, wish me luck tomorrow on the walleye, dude. I ain't caught a fish, and I don't know. That pike was a couple of weeks ago now, so I don't know. I'm pretty well due. So
All right,
See
man.
how
Good
it
luck
goes.
out there. Jay, Lucas, good talking with you guys.
Likewise,
And,
guys. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, later,
see you
guys.
guys.